The Energy Commission intensify efforts to ensure efficient use of energy protection of the environment as it destroys over 5,000 second-hand fridges imported into the country. The Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Joe Otin-Agyei, who was present, noted the move was crucial as it will help contribute to preserving the ozone layer.
As inspectors, we want to sound a warning that the days of ignorance are gone. And these days, we work together with sector agencies to implement each environmental law. That is the only way we will contribute. Those of us who are here, we are aware that in the olden days, we could have 4 months, 2 times a year rain. Now we hardly even have 2 months. And so these are all impacts of climate change.
The Energy Commission introduced a rebate scheme to phase out second-hand refrigerators from the Ghanaian market. The project is being implemented by the government following the ban on the importation of used refrigerators into the country, which took effect from January 2013. Minister for Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation, Dr. Joe Otin-Agyei. Let's hear him.
Once they get to these used fridges, after 3-4 years, we have another challenge on our side, which is the e-waste. And you are all familiar with the Abublushi challenge. Kindly, we just a couple of days ago, I just signed a grant from the government of Switzerland. It's giving us 1.2 million Swiss francs to enable us undertake a comprehensive study to see how we eliminate that waste. Therefore, this law is good for the people of Ghana. But these have long-term effects on our lives and the quality of lives that we live here.
Well, Dr. Joe Otin-Agyei, whose ministry is collaborating with that of energy as well as trade and industry, said the move is also aimed at reducing the high rate of electronic waste in Ghana. The ban on the importation of used refrigerators, freezers and air conditioners took effect from January 1st. That followed the coming into force of the legislative instrument 1932-2008, which bans the importation of those used items. But with today's destruction, what happens to persons who imported these fridges, and how is the Energy Commission going to ensure that the continued importation of the used fridges is curbed? My name is Stephen Anti, and this is today's big story. Right, let's get on to the phone lines now and do some discussions. Victor Osu is Public Relations Officer of the Energy Commission. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us on today's big story.
Good evening.
So here we are. I mean, 5,000 refrigerators destroyed. Is this just a face screen just to show to the rest of the world and the country that the ministry is working? I mean, there must be more than 5,000 used fridges in this country.
Yeah. That is. Thanks a lot in any case. But that is not a show. That is not a show cleaning. They are not demonstrating to the outside world that it's just merely taking delivery of refrigerators and dismantling them. The issues are that, well, let me come in with some corrections here. The ban on the importation of refrigerators.
Right, Victor, we cannot hear you very well. If you could reposition yourself, we will do a great job by hearing you. So if you can, Victor, also, can you hear me now? I'm sorry, I think we lost Victor also on the line. He's a Public Relations Officer of the Energy Commission. He was going to tell us that this is not a one-day exercise and that it will continue. It's not just something they're doing for the public to get a feel that this is all right. So the news today is that the Ministry of Energy is destroying some 5,000 used refrigerators. This is in line with government's policy to ban the importation of used refrigerators into the country. So Victor Owusu is here again. So Victor, we lost you earlier, and I was asking if this is not just a showpiece for you to prove to the rest of the country that you are working. This is on the back of the fact that there are more than 5,000 used refrigerators in this country, really.
Yeah, the refrigerators that are used in the homes of people, that we can do about it. But what he took possession of, the 5,000 that you are talking about, were fridges that were shipped into this country after the expiry of a grace period that have been granted to importers.
Right.
So that is the difference.
Right. So, I mean, I made reference to the fact that the ban on the importation of used refrigerators took effect from January 31st in 2013. You were going to make a correction about that earlier when we lost you.
It actually took effect from 1st of July 2013.
1st of
and
July.
The history behind it is that the law which prohibited the importation of second-hand refrigerators was passed in 2008. That is LI 1932. And the law actually granted a moratorium of 2 years to the dealers to wind up their businesses. The law itself, if you go into the law, that's what the law says, after 2 years. Then, come 2010, the importers came back with pleas that we should give them another period, and that was granted. So it came as far as to the last of the grace periods that was offered was that of the one in 2013 from January to June. And after June, then enforcement of the law kicked in. So that is the chronology of events as far as the enforcement of LI 1932 is concerned.
So this ban on second-hand refrigerators, mainly, how are you hoping to get people who fall within low-income categories to be able to afford brand new refrigerators? This is going to be hard for the majority of Ghanaians.
Yeah, see, this theory of affordability, I think, is overhyped. And that is one thing that you must get clear. Because the operational cost of these second-hand fridges is higher than when you go to buy a new fridge. So the issue of people not affording and that kind of stuff, to me, doesn't wash, right? You have to consider the consumption of the second-hand fridges in a month alone. The research that you did indicated that it consumed over 100 kilowatt hours of electricity a month. Multiply by 12, and you are getting about 1,200 kilowatt hours of energy that is consumed by these second-hand fridges. And multiply that by the unit cost of electricity. And you realize that at the end of the day, you are paying more by using the second-hand fridge than if you have bought a new fridge.
But really, I mean, but really, Victor. Right, but really, Victor, I understand you. But look, you were talking about somebody who perhaps sells at Agbogboloshi Market, who needs a refrigerator to store food items. That person, with the little amount of capital he or she is able to raise, might not be able to afford a brand new at the start, but can afford a used one, and over time perhaps save money to buy a brand new one. So if you snuff out the ability of the person to get any refrigerator at all, are you harming the person, or you're doing them good?
We are not harming the person. That is why we've gone ahead to introduce the rebate exchange program, where we are encouraging people to go to some of the participating shops that are participating in the program and exchange their old fridges for new fridges at a discount. And so we are making sure that the people that you think can afford will be in a position to get new fridges through the rebate scheme.
Right. So are you now going to maybe compensate those whose fridges you've destroyed, or because they
have breached the law, so there's no compensation.
No compensation. What about those who have already imported and their imports are on the high seas? You're going to wait for them to arrive and then
no, not at all.
Destroy them?
Not at all. Not at all. Because we granted them a moratorium, a grace period, and the grace period has expired. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. I mean, I'm trying to make...
The grace period has expired. So any shipment that comes in after the grace period you face the full rigors of the law, the application of the law.
All right. So, what do you think these are the most effective measures you can employ by, as Energy Commission to see to it that second-hand fridges are a thing of the past in Ghana? Are these the best measures?
Exactly. It is not the Energy Commission. It is the laws of Ghana that are doing that. LI 1932, passed by the Sovereign Parliament of Ghana.
Right. So, what considerations went into deciding finally? I know that this the ban you've just told us took effect from 2013. But
Yeah.
what considerations went into it? Is it because we, as a country, are unable to meet the energy demands of these second-hand fridges, or we are putting in place contingency measures to conserve energy?
In the first place, the answer is that we had to put this into place because those appliances that were coming from outside the used fridges were consuming a lot of our energy. The research that we conducted revealed that, on the average, a unit of refrigerator, second-hand one, was consuming 1,200 kilowatt hours in a year. So that is one of the reasons that informed us of the decision to recommend a prohibition of its importation.
Right. Yeah, you can continue, sir.
Yeah, and see, the fact of the matter is that demand is growing. You realize demand is growing between 10 to 15%. And one of the ways that you can use to address this imbalance is to come up with such interventions. We have done one before when we used incandescent, we exchanged incandescent lamps in this country and substituted them with compact fluorescent lamps. That alone saved this country 124 megawatts of power. That was one intervention. We've done another intervention that also dealt with air conditioners. And this is the range of means that you want to use to address the imbalance between supply and demand.
Right. So tell me now, one of the key issues which came up recently was the fact that Ghana is the largest e-waste dump site. Ghana has the largest, Agbogboloshi market actually, area was the largest e-waste dump site. Tell me, how did you destroy these fridges? Did you destroy them in a manner which was easy for you to recycle the various parts of the refrigerators? 5,000,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Exactly. They are dismembered into components of the iron, the aluminium, and then the ferrous metals in them, and the full materials. They are all dismembered in that way and segregated. And so we don't just destroy them in such a way that they will be harmful to the environment. That's far away from it.
What about the CFC gases? What did you do with them?
They are stocked out and then put in containers for export, for destruction.
Right.
Because we don't have the means.
Right. Let's get it straight. Let's get it straight, Victor. Of the 5,000 second-hand fridges you were destroying, you took each refrigerator, suck out the CFC gases from them, and then can them or package them for exports, for destruction?
Yes, for destruction, yes.
That must come at a huge cost.
At what?
That must come at a huge cost.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, you see. And so you want to find out the cost implications involved in the dismantling process.
Yes.
That's rich. Actually, it doesn't come at a cost to the government of Ghana or to the Energy Commission. We have entered into an arrangement with the dismantling facilities. And bear in mind, at the moment, we have two dismantling facilities in operation. There's one at Kwabenya and there's one at Afienya. The Kwabenya one does dismantling of used fridges that has been exchanged in the rebate scheme, right?
Yes.
And then the one at Afienya is for fridges that have been seized at the port as a result of the enforcement on the ban on the importation of second-hand fridges.
Right.
So what goes on is that the dismantling facility, they do the dismantling, and then they use the dismembered parts of the fridge to offset their cost. So we don't pay anything, and then they take that one and go and sell on the scrap market to defray their cost.
I see. So, I mean, our understanding is that these two sites you've mentioned, Afienya and Kwabenya, are private sites. I mean,
They are private.
They're private. So, tell me, what guarantees are there for us Ghanaians to hold you accountable or believe that no fridges will get out from these private sites?
Yeah, the assurance that I can give you is that we have a tracking system in place. We have a tracking, how we give tracking numbers to all the fridges that are sent either to Kwabenya or to Afienya. And we have documents from SEPs about way bills, serial numbers of all the fridges. So we also cross-check with the fridges that have been dismantled at the dismantling site. They can give you the highest, fullest assurance that none, not a single one of these fridges can in any way get back into the market.
So tracking numbers and documents from SEPs, how reliable can you base your tracking on these devices you've just mentioned? Because at the end of the day, if you have 5,000, this is just 5,000, and there are more which I'm sure will come from homes if you are destroying those imports that are coming in. What about those coming from homes? How reliable are these? How can you continue to track to ensure that no fridge, no second-hand fridge gets out of these private sites?
Once we track and once a particular fridge is dismembered or dismantled, it gets out of the system. And then another one is tracked, is dismantled, and it gets out of the system. So continuously, we keep track of every single fridge that is dismantled. So we know the number of fridges that are dismantled, and we know the number of fridges that we send to the dismantling facilities.
Right. Victor, I'll have you hold. I'm joined on the other line by John Jinapor, who is Deputy Minister for Energy. We will interact with him a bit. So, John, I'm happy that you are able to join us on this very important discussion. Now, we see that the collective work between the Energy Ministry and the Energy Commission is to ensure, one, we have environmentally safe, we save our environment, and then we protect the energy that we have. Now, tell me how the ministry is ensuring that this is not going to be a one-day wonder.
Thank you very much. First of all, we are simply implementing the law. This is a law passed by the Parliament of Ghana in 2008. And so what we are doing is upholding the Constitution and ensuring that we implement the law to the letter. Indeed, this law should have been implemented way back in 2010.
Yes, exactly my question. So why wasn't it implemented then? Why now?
Before we implemented the law, the dealers and the importers petitioned and indicated that there hadn't been broad consultation, there hadn't been much publicity and education in implementing the law, and so they needed some time. And as Ghanaians and as a government, we had no choice than to give them the benefit of the doubt. And so we had to push the implementation to 2014, thereabout. So that brought about some 2012, another 2 years, 2008 to 2010, 2010 to 2012. And even in 2012, we had some challenges. But eventually, we felt that we had done enough consultation, we had done enough publicity, and looking at the situation, we had no choice than to implement that. And that is why today you saw the action we took. We intend sustaining this. We do not want it to be a 9-day wonder. We would ensure that with sector agencies, with all the stakeholders, the customs, the port authorities, and all those involved, including more especially you, the media, will sustain this exercise because it has direct economic implication in the energy sector. And that is why we are working on that. When you take our energy in consumption into consideration, 50% of that is accounted by domestic consumption. Out of that 50%, about 60% of that is attributable to refrigerators and air conditioning. That is the machines we use in cooling the system. That alone accounts for about 60% of domestic consumption. Now, the good thing is that if you're able to stop the importation of these users, you will reduce the consumption by half. And that is a colossal amount. As I speak to you, we're spending 5 million cedis every day, every single day, importing light via only the thermal plants. And so it's a major drain on the economy, and we just have to try and sustain it.
Right, so I need to get a fair understanding whether this law only targets second-hand refrigerators. What about microwave ovens?
So far, we are dealing with refrigerators and air conditioning. We would be dealing with others. And as we indicated, these machines have chemicals that are also environmentally disastrous. They deplete the ozone layer. The freons and all those chlorofluorocarbons have some effect on the ozone layer. So following this, we would extend it to other gadgets and appliances depending on the situation. And so it's possible that we'll spread it out, but we need to do further consultation and ensure that we carry the people on. It is true that it will have some repercussions. Some people want to purchase used refrigerators, but it saves you in terms of the energy cost, because it reduces your consumption, and that's why we are also implementing the appliance rebate system, where we encourage people to turn in their used refrigerators for some financial support to purchase new, efficient refrigerators.
Right. So are you doing this based on specific research reports or advice from the Environmental Protection Agency? I'm asking this on the back of the fact that you possibly could be overreacting as the collective contribution of these refrigerators and the CFC gases to the depletion of Ghana's environment might be very insignificant.
It's taking years to find the law. It was not just a one-time event. It took so much consultation, even before the law was passed. The law was passed in 2008, and all the sector agencies were involved. And if you remember some of the indicators I gave, I clearly give you specifics in terms of statistics, the cost involved, the environmental issues, and all that. What is happening is simply that the advanced countries are dumping these refrigerators on some of us who cannot even handle some of these refrigerators. They have companies that are supposed to dispose of these refrigerators by taking out the chemicals and going through the right processes. But what some of them are doing is that they are dumping the refrigerators into Ghana and other countries. And so it has serious environmental implications. And I can assure you that a lot of work is gone into this, and that is why we've taken that decision.
Right, we're grateful. Now, talking about dumping, I mean, my mind comes to the EPA, Economic Partnership Agreement, which Europe is pushing the rest of ECOWAS to append signatures to. When we append a signature, if we ever do that, wouldn't we be exposing ourselves to such imports, quota-free, really, from the European Union? They possibly could be bringing in more of these second-hand fridges into our country in the name of EPA?
I don't think so, because we've also signed to so many conventions and protocols aimed at protecting the environment. And so when you sign protocols, all of them play. And certainly dumping is an anti-trade regulation. WTO regulations do not even allow dumping, more especially when these refrigerators are refrigerators that cannot even be used in those advanced countries. So I do not foresee that challenge at all. Rather, that should rather help us in implementing the law. And today, the Minister of Environment did indicate that the European Commission has given tacit approval to the exercise we are taking, and that they would also sensitize their countries to desist from dumping some of these used refrigerators into Ghana and neighboring countries. And so I do not think that that will be an issue at all.
Right. So finally, the rebate scheme, which enables people with second-hand fridges to exchange them for brand new ones and pay the difference, how long is it going to be in place?
We intend to roll it out for a very long period of time. Of course, we will keep monitoring the system. If you do recall, some time back, we banned the importation of incandescent bulbs, and then we went on to encourage the usage of compact fluorescent bulbs, and even spent about 6 million, brought about 6 million of those bulbs. If you do recall, we had to distribute free bulbs. Today, we are promoting the use of LED, and so circumstances will determine the line of action. But clearly, the target is to roll this out for a very long period of time to ensure that we're able to mop out all those old refrigerators. And who knows, another technology may come that would call for a review of this program, and we'll be more than willing to do that.
Right. Thank you very much, John Jinapor. John Jinapor is Deputy Energy Minister, and we're grateful that he could make time with us on today's big story. So we'll quickly wrap up with you, Victor, if you're still on the line, Victor. So you've heard John Jinapor. He spoke extensively. So I'll give you the final word. What do you want to say to us? Are you going to give us assurances that this is good for us, or are you going to also advise people who are still using second-hand fridges to think about discarding them?
Yeah, we're going to advise people, the dealers particularly, who want to continue with that trade, to put a stop to it, because it will never work. And we make sure that we enforce the law as reiterated by the Honorable Deputy Minister. And the other point is that even some of the dealers, the dealers themselves have moved away from the old refrigerators. Some of them are even imported new ones that are being cleared from the ports. So sooner than later, the chapter of old refrigerators will be closed.
Right. We're very grateful for your time. This has been today's big story. We'll take a wrap here, and we'll return with the interactive segment. Stay with us. Well, welcome back. It's now time for the interactive segment, and I've got my phone ready. And what do you have ready to?
You know what? What actually surprises me is that the phone is ready, but you never tweet or text.
I do.
But I never see your tweet.
Jesus, I am a tweet addict. Oh, I don't know if so good anymore.
He's going local.
Yeah, I do a few tweets.
Yeah.
I do them. Hello, oh my God, those ones. All right, so let me leave you.
Well, you remember during the Delegates Congress, I mean, during the night shift coverage,
that's right.
News broke out that another fire had ravaged Sodom and Gomorrah,
I know.
Old Fadama, and I think the entire Congress actually muted that story, but it's back up, and we're talking about it.
It's back up, and we're talking about it.
It's like a never-ending story. 1 minute it's on, the next minute we think the fires are off, and then all of a sudden another fire.
Anyway, so let's hear what people have to say.
Of course. Welcome to JN Interactive. My name is Marian Toure. So welcome to the show. It's Monday, it is fresh, and what is trending is what we're talking about. Before I go in to tell you what are the meat of what we're talking about, let me announce all the social media tools, because that is what you need to get in touch with the show. After all, the show is nothing without you. It's nothing without your comments and everything that you bring through. You'll find us on facebook.com/journeys on TV. We have put a lot of comments there about what is trending, so send your thoughts and we'll share it with the rest of the world. We are on Twitter, and the main Joy News handle is @JoyNews on TV. But by popular demand, you'll be requesting it. We have set up a new Twitter page for JN Interactive, and it's JN Interactive GH. So you can send your tweets to both pages, and we will take them and read them live. I am on Twitter too. I tweet @MNToure, and you can send your emails to joynews@multitvworld.com, and our new WhatsApp number. I am sure you stored that on your phone by now, and you are WhatsApping us like no one's business. It's 054-010-9009, 054-010-9009. So get to talking, because I am here to amplify what you have to say on social media. And JN Interactive is where tech meets news to set the agenda. And I am sure those of you who kept abreast with, our coverage of the MPP, Congress would have known that we had to break in transmission to report to you that there has been another fire outbreak at Old Fadama. We all call it Sodom and Gomorrah. And the reports that have reached us indicate that over 500 residents have been displaced as a result of the fire, and which hit those residents that evening. And residents speculate that the fire was sparked by illegal electricity connection that had become rampant in the vicinity. Today we are asking so many questions, but if you remember, I did cover a story either September or October of last year of a fire in the same place. Access was a problem even for fire tenders to reach them to quench the fire. So many questions have come on after that. We are asking, okay, the fire service is saying that that is not a recognized community, so they cannot set up base. But do you think it's about time that communities like that, which have grown to become vast neighborhoods within Accra, within other capital towns, within the villages of this country, do they now need their own fire stations? We want to find out what you're thinking. Do you think that they need a fire station? So many other issues have also come back about relocation of the places, about government's even political will to evacuate all of these people. So I have a lot of resource people standing by to talk to us and tell us the meat of the problem. We have been talking to so many people. You know how we do here. We talk to you and we also go out there to seek views on the blogs that we get in. So let's have our first video blog, which actually highlights what happened on Saturday, and when I come back, we'll be sharing some comments that have been dropping in on that for you. Stay tuned.
Fire outbreaks are common in slum communities like Old Fadama. Most structures are wooden and extremely densely packed, making these communities prone to fire outbreaks. Residents of this area were thrown into a state of mourning Saturday night as a result of fire outbreak, which has so far rendered over 300 families homeless. Due to the poor layout of the area, personnel from the Ghana Fire Service found it difficult assessing the area to put out the fire on time. A visit to the area Sunday afternoon revealed residents have already started rebuilding their homes. This time they are putting up concrete buildings.
This Janu Tambia she no Janu Tina she Abobono. This blocks. Biwa this kado over at the blocks sabo. One fire I find Okoda. This all the Obi about 3 or about 4. Empty she no this oil wall on new beard over one. Aya Tambia to me she no young home paying for Biawa. Omit me baba chon trokra o mo bue omumba but Tambia bremo.
Our chairman for this Agublechi, he come this morning plus young people. There are 8 people, and call our chief and the Agublechi chief himself. He also come. We all sit down and they decide to tell everybody at here that nobody should make your room at the water mouth again. But one thing is that nobody should take the wooden stretcher again. We should try our best and make the blocks over here.
Residents noted that even though they do not have permits from city authorities to put up concrete structures, they cannot also be passing the night outside. Matilda Pomaga for Joy News, Accra.
So those last ones that you saw there were actually what actually happened, when the fire actually raised the community down. And this morning, our sister show, the AM show, actually caught up with the public relations officer for the Ghana National Fire Service, Billy Anaglete, who actually, during the quiz and the Q&A, he actually thinks that the only thing the fire service can do is educate the general public on firefighting. Well, take a listen to him.
first of all, we need to ensure that fires are prevented. That is the first and foremost thing that we look out for. And then that is what we have been doing to educate. You can only educate the people to complement. If you say you want to prevent fires, it is not only the fire service alone that should be having that responsibility.
But I am thinking, you know, as an ordinary person, that if you're still educating people and we're still seeing a lot of fires, and then probably the education is not going down well. You're not doing something right, maybe.
Well, probably that might be what you might be thinking, but you agree with me that even in a classroom of 10 people, when you are teaching them, after you finish teaching them, you ask questions. There are some of them might not even remember all that have been taught, and there are some of them might even remember, but who fail in trying to implement it. I'm only saying that it is only attitudinal that people. As much as some of them do not want to avail themselves for the education, some also would even sit in the class but will decide not to listen to it. Those of them who might even understand and take it will definitely fail to implement it. I believe strongly that even if you should monitor people even at where you are working, as we have talked about safety measures severally, that each time that people are even leaving their premises, they should use few minutes to look around and deploy all electrical gadgets. But if you monitor few people in your premises, you realize that there are some that will not even fit to some of these measures that we are talking. So it is only when the public, especially if we talk about the market situation, the very people that have their investment are made to understand that they have a very big role to play if it comes to fire prevention in their premises. The fire personnel will not be in people's shops at the time that they are closed to ensure that the fan that they are using is turned off. The electrical gadgets that are not supposed to be on are properly turned off and deployed. We will not be in every shop or store to ensure that these things are done. But it is the very people that work in there, the very people that are using these premises, that should have that responsibility to do it. So when we continue to educate people and they fail to implement it, I don't think the fire service should be blamed for such, situations.
Well, yeah, that was what Biliana Glate had to say. But I mean, come on. In today's Ghana, 21st century Ghana, you educate people. Like my colleague, Mamami was asking, you educate people about fire and it keeps happening. Then you think education is the way forward? I mean, perhaps we should actually give them their own fire station. But then government also says, look, we have to relocate these people. Government hasn't found the will to relocate them yet. Until then, what do? The fires are still occurring. Should we wait for, things to go awry before we say, hey? I mean, that won't be enough. But at this particular moment, I have, the Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety, who is in the person of Nanaya Akwada, on the phone to ask him questions to help us understand where he's also coming from as a, public safety aspect of what he thinks we should be doing. Because we can't all be drumming the same thing that the fire service is saying. Is actually, I don't know the words to use, but it's actually a bit pathetic that the fire service would think that educating the people on fire safety is the way forward. I don't think so. In my small mind, I really don't believe that is a thing. The land was actually acquired for something else. It's become a slum. Okay, government says we are going to relocate these people. We have built, shelters for them. Relocate them. Is that a problem? No, it's not. But Mr. Akwada is on the line, so he can help us, dissect this and perhaps get my BP going down. Hello, Nanayao.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening and welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm fine, thank you, and I hope your viewers too are doing very fine.
I pray they're doing fine. They're not having any heart attack like I'm about to have here. So my first question would be to you that should we be considering a fire station for slums and similar communities? The communities have already formed. They haven't moved. They are there. Is it about time we give them their own fire station?
Well, let me say good evening once again to your viewers and to the Amnesty International fellow out there on the other side. I do not know where this proposal or argument is stemming from.
Okay.
Because it looks to me as though it's not an option that is wise for us as a country to begin to consider now. We are open to so many other actions that we could take in order to make slum dwellers secured and to provide them with a certain amount of safety.
Okay, what would this be then?
Well, I'm sure as I came online, I heard the Amnesty International fellow pose that question to you, that why shouldn't we relocate them? It should be possible for us.
Point of correction, actually, I haven't actually spoken to Lawrence yet. It was a sound bite that we were playing, and so that voice would have had to come from an interview that my colleague conducted this morning. And so perhaps that is what you're talking about. I actually haven't spoken to him yet.
I suppose so. I think I came on too late, and that's the last bit that I heard.
Yeah.
Okay. So the point I'm making is that government can relocate slum dwellers. That is one. But that is very expensive.
Right.
Number two, government can take steps to redevelop the slums, which is the option that the Bureau of Public Safety would like to settle for. Our understanding is that government of Ghana is a signatory to some program that the United Nations has put across regarding slum development, and to that extent, we are barred or somewhat constrained to eject slum dwellers. At worst, what we can do for them is to redevelop the places where they dwell or relocate them. To that extent, it's important that as a country we look at slum dwelling phenomena as a developmental and a human right issue. So instead of you citing a fire station by a slum community, which is not wise because it has so many challenges, such as one, the slum, because it was not developed with such things in mind. Even if you cited a fire station by it, in the event of fire, how would the fire guys access the area? How would they access the fire point? That is one. Even if they were sitting on bicycles, how can they access the fire point? If you know how slums develop in this country, then you know that you could be walking in a slum and end up in somebody's bedroom. So citing a fire station by a slum community is a no-no.
Okay,
no-no.
On that particular point, let me ask my gentleman on the line to Lawrence Amesu, who is Executive Director of Amnesty International, whether he actually agrees with this, your opinion that it will be absolutely a no-no. Hello, Lawrence.
Hello. Good evening again. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
One important thing we should know is that in every society, every human being is entitled to his or her rights. And it is the responsibility of our governments, our authorities, to protect. This one, there is nothing like a negotiation.
Okay.
It's a government's responsibility to protect every human being in his or her jurisdiction. It does not matter whether the person is living somewhere illegally or illegally. Everybody has to be protected. So if somebody who is living in cantonment will be protected by providing fire hydrants or a station somewhere in order to ensure that when there's fire, we quickly respond to it. The same thing should be accorded to people who live in slums. In fact, we have several slums.
Right.
Perhaps for Old Fadama, these are quarters we are talking about.
Yeah.
But we have several other slums, like even Nima. Nima is a slum. One would be all those areas are slums. So we cannot say that.
But are these rights actually guaranteed, even if they are, can I say, an enemy unto themselves, because their actions are actually invariably going to end their own lives if something is not done about it? Where does the human rights start and end here?
Well, I mean, somebody has talked about the fact that there's a need for relocation or redevelopment of slums. That is very true.
Right.
If as we as a nation, if we think that where people are living at this moment is not the right thing to do, then we should start thinking of relocating people. In fact, I am aware that AMA has been trying to look at this alternative. So it is not an issue that our authorities are not taking action. I believe that the government and then the city authorities are beginning to realize that no matter where people live, they still have rights. So these things are being talked about. Because I've heard several times that a place has been located at Ajekojo, a place has been located somewhere else. So it is true that people are thinking about it, but that is because of the problems, of economic problems that the government has to handle. That is why. But to say that because people are living there illegally, they should not be protected, that is not a question at all. They have to be protected. And if that means putting a fire station there, that is what has to be done.
Right.
But I will also support the idea that we do not have to leave the slums to continue to grow the way they are. They should be redeveloped. We have to start thinking of how to relocate people who are living in Old Fadama. And I will support the idea.
Right.
And that is what Amnesty International has been doing. Talking about.
Okay, I'm coming to Nanayao now. I hope that you're still on the line. You were actually talking about redevelopment of that area, perhaps. But redevelopment would mean that they have to relocate because there's nothing you can do if these people still live there. And so wouldn't it be ideal to actually relocate them permanently rather than saying, hey, let's redevelop the slum and then bring them back?
I do not know about redevelopment is possible. Redevelopment of a slum is possible and is a choice of a government to either redevelop a slum or relocate a slum community. Whichever way the government chooses to go will depend on a few econometrics of the government. Okay. But the argument, I want to come back to it, that which the human rights fellow made, is that it's enshrined in our constitution. I think chapter 24 and article 36 addresses some safety and public safety issues. So it is a human rights issue that every citizen everywhere in Ghana here, as long as the person is going about a legitimate business, even when they break the law, they still have rights that must be protected.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm afraid I'm running out of time, so we'll have to end it here, and I'm hoping that we can pick up this discussion again soon. I have been speaking to Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety, Nanayawa Quadra, and Executive Director of Amnesty International, Lawrence Amesu, on the issues so far. And Sarah has been out there, and she's been talking to all of you. Let's take our next video blog. When we come, we'll take some WhatsApp comments and some Facebook messages as well. Please don't go away.
Thank you, Marian. Slums every day are springing up in the greater Accra region. A slum, like Sodom and Gomorrah, has been giving the government a headache, especially because the government has been trying to find a place to relocate residents. Should slums like Sodom and Gomorrah have fire stations? What do you think?
There should be fire stations around that area. Not only in that area, but I think in the market too, and some advantageous points in Ghana. Because that's not the only place where fire has taken, like there have been a fire outbreak before. Looking at the market, what happened last year in Tema Station and Carnation, and recently something happened in Kumasi. So I think there should be a fire station.
Yeah, I think so, because the way the fire breaking is happening is very bad. So I think they should have a fire station there.
If they give them a fire station nearby, it's okay. That one is good. And at the same time, the way the fire outbreak is frequently happening over there, I think they should get some place for them and use that place for something else. You understand? Yeah, so that the place will be there for some purpose or for some time before they can bring them back, or they should use it for another thing. That's what I think, because they can't get a fire service station over there and still they will be there, and always there will be fire and the station will be there. It's use of money.
Well, yeah, the verdict, the jury's out actually. Some of you think there should be a fire station, some of you think there shouldn't be a fire station, but I'll be looking at what some of you has been sharing with us, and our WhatsApps have dropped in. I'm hoping that you can see them so that I can take them and then read them out to all of us right now. But whilst we're waiting, you can still send your comments to facebook.com/joynews on TV, and we will amplify it and share it with the rest of the world. And so the comments that have been coming in, this one from Karim Awinzo, Roger Karim Awinzo says, fire stations around slums would help, but the best way to keep the numerous fire outbreaks at bay would be the government should restructure the slum and rent it out. Really? Wow, okay. And this one is coming from Baba. Baba said, due to the frequent fire outbreaks at these areas, I think there is a need to have fire stations at these areas. Okay. And see, look at the name of the place, Sodom and Gomorrah. Even the name alone can be the cause of the never-ending problems there. God help us. Very funny one. Comic relief from Alina. Wow, thank you so much. At least you have given me comic relief there. And some comments that have been dropping in on Facebook. You know, the precursor has already been set, and we were actually asking you whether you think we should set up fire savers stations there. Bonti Benjamin says it's a must. With you, it is imperative that they do. Widad Abdul, when Nanado was in UK, they were not experiencing the fires. Really? Hey, conspiracy theorists. Majid Awudu from Gushagu. Marian, we even need fire stations everywhere in the country. Look, Marian, some of the issues need to be discussed non-political. For how long are we going to wait for the problem to be solved? Indeed, our greedy politicians are the sole cause of this, because they only think about their families and don't care about the poor innocent Ghanaians whose taxes are being used to pay them. Other than that, for how long should it take Ghana to control fires when we know it's a truth of human life? Okay, threat on human life. Moses, what is it? What at all is going on here in Ghana? I do not know. I wish I knew. Abuga says, I suggest the electricity companies should regularly check on the connections, since most people do illegal connections, and also be surprised supplied with fire extinguishers. Okay. Sadiq Mohammed, cocks of cat. Oh, because of a cat, and every man will say, I don't think I want to take this one. It's a joke. Adam says, yeah, but I think we need to change our attitude sometimes. We are always rushing to build houses, but we don't seek the technical advice sometimes, and we don't take safety measures into consideration as well. Samora is sending this from Accra. The truth is, some Ghanaians are too careless in their various homes. They do whatever they like, not knowing it will affect others. This is just a warning, and if we don't play our cards well, the worst will happen soon. Godwin Kojo says, I think so, because this will help get the education on fire closer to them, and even when there is an outbreak, it can be put off immediately. Nuruddin, we need fire stations everywhere in the country, but in my opinion, the recent fire outbreaks in Ghana is not normal. Maybe arsonists are behind this. It's just unusual. And on that conspiracy theorist note, I'll end the comments here, and Steve Ente is back so that we can wrap up together. Yes, welcome back.
I'm back.
Yes, I know.
And so fire, this fire thing.
You'll be back, and you are back.
I'm back, I'm back. I mean, this fire thing is it's a bit worrying. I mean, it's been consistent. We even brought in some Americans to help us crack the fire jinx.
The report of which was never actually disclosed.
Oh, anyway, so that's all. Up next, we have Journeys Interactive, and then stay tuned. Journeys at 8 will come to you with Israel Live. Thanks for staying with us. My name is Stephen Anti.
And my name is Marian Toure. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of our program.
Good evening.
Mm-hmm.